Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I'm going to be checking out another new single from Humanity's Last Breath taken from their upcoming album Ashen, which will be out on August 4th via Unique Leader Records. The album is coming up quickly. I've covered all of the singles on the channel. Linger has definitely been my favorite so far. Today we'll be checking out Passage. I will link any sort of pre-orders, promotional links, all the band's social media, the video I'll be using in the reaction portion of this, all of that will be linked in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Tasteful ass blast beats. Ooh, for those layers. Brain scratchy. Oh, now the groove, baby. Okay. Was not expecting after Linger. Contract. I'm awake. Just back to total destruction. Oh. Well, Humanity's Last Breath, Passage, let's discuss. I loved Linger. As I said, it was my favorite single after hearing it, but I think this one has the possibility to, I think I might love it even more actually after one listen, because it's definitely a different feel than the things that surprised me about Linger. I felt like I was not expecting a chorus like that, and that's not to say I obviously still love that. That's still going to be a track that gets a bunch of plays from me, but this track has the perfect combination of like that destructive, unpredictable Humanity's Last Breath, and also just a bit of like atmospheric contrast to that, which is what I started saying during the actual video. Obviously, I try to keep my talking during the songs to a minimum and then talk about it at the end, because who wants to be talking over a song or pausing it in like a very key build-up moment? Anyway, but with this track, it took me by surprise in a much different way. I wasn't really expecting anything I would love more than Linger, because it has the quirkiness. I feel like something that's neat about this band is that they find different ways to be unpredictable. Upon first hearing them, before any of these singles were, you know, a thought, or it was really through their last release process where I started listening to them more and more, started hearing people say thal more and more and being like, what does that mean? And then I found the rabbit hole of bands that bust. Actually, I think it might have been a little bit earlier even than the last release cycle, now like piecing it all together, because it was before Alt formed. I remember Alt forming, and when their first song came out, looking, and it was, guess who was working with them? So for me, the unpredictability at that point was kind of timing. It was always this really weird, I can't tell what's going to happen next. They've certainly kept that, but I do feel in places they kind of bring a new meaning to the unpredictability. Maybe it's not always going to be a focus there. With Linger, something that was not an expected thing for me that took me by surprise was right in the, I think it's right in the middle of the song where it says, what is this feeling lingering? The what that comes in there just took me by such surprise the first time I heard it, and still sometimes when I'm re-listening to the song, it's just a very quirky choice for the vocals there. So I find that to be something that they keep on bringing a new meaning to. For me, at least, that's the way I listen to the music. So, but this track felt like it certainly had some of the unpredictability that I originally associated with the band, less so with Linger, and even, I believe that most of these tracks have it somewhere. They've really evolved, I feel like, in their sound, and kind of have been testing bringing new elements into it, but a track like this proves like that destructive, that kind of wild presentation. It all is something that they're still capable of, which makes me even more excited about the album. But you listen to a track like Instill, it's obviously not a sound that they've strayed from or anything. So I'm really excited to see how they kind of push the limits of that sound and incorporating different things into it. I love that this track kind of has that like eerie, atmospheric contrast to it, because that typically for me is like the most attractive type of contrast. It's why bands like Alt or Invent Animate, those bands stick out to me above the rest, because they focus a lot on providing the mood there with the atmosphere and stuff. So any type of expanding on that will be something I'll be excited to see on the record, but also the parts that I will label as unpredictable and that sort of thing will excite me also. So they become more exciting, I feel like, with each track that I listen to for that reason. So other than that sort of contrast, there are a lot of things that I really dug about this song. Somewhere around the 1.5-minute mark, there's like this groove down that it just hits so hard for me. I had to go back and re-listen after I finished the reaction portion, because after the song was over, that was something that I could hear in my head and just wanted to hear again. And it's very thorough too. Like it lasts a good bit. Sometimes you get teased with something like that and you're like, bring that back, and it never comes back. Not necessarily the worst thing either, because then you just end up replaying, but I feel like that will happen with this song anyway. The layered screams that I mentioned, they're present on multiple places on this track, and it just sounds so good. Some of those highs, they just hit so differently and are sprinkled in there so well to where I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's like the amount that leaves you like, I know how this feels rare in their sound, and that I really look forward to the moments where this comes through. So this track, it was almost, I think, in the first minute or 1.5 minutes as well that we got that. Obviously, I've talked so much about Buster on the channel at this point, but I feel like it's very well deserved. And with every song that's put out with his name on it, when he's in the band like this, or when he's working with the bands that I've mentioned time and time again, Elision, Alt, there are a ton of bands. Throne is a band that Buster works with and is in that just continues to further their sound. And I'm finally going to be seeing them live this year. I cannot wait for that. But I've talked a lot about how his identity comes to the projects he's working on, but not in a copy-paste type of way. It goes to show on these Humanity's Last Breath track, as they kind of widen the sound and the expectations and stuff, how he sort of drills into the project he's working on, is able to like get the mix to where it just sounds huge for the assets being used in the project. You obviously can't use the same approach with every band that you work with, because it's not always going to be that same sound, but it's very neat to watch it all unfold and just be continuously amazed with how hard these songs hit from a production perspective. And I'm constantly talking about that. There have been times when I haven't known that a band is working with Buster, and I check them out for the first time, and then I hear something in the song, and right as soon as the song ends, I go and I check the credits, and there is his name. So that is something that excites me about these future releases for his bands, for the bands he works with, but also just beyond that, the sound that Humanity's Last Breath is putting down seems to be my favorite. And I've talked about how I really enjoy tracks like Earthless and stuff, and that will be hard to kind of top, but it's looking very possible, especially with how much I'm enjoying some of these singles and how quickly they've moved up my list of favorites. Did not mean to punch that. Also, it hurt a little bit, but we're gonna keep it moving. So those are pretty much my thoughts. I think I've rambled a good bit, and I will be sure to cover the full album as it drops. So we will be talking more about these songs, about the album in full, and all of that stuff. So let me know in the comments which your favorite single is. Mine definitely between Passage and Linger. I'm leaning, after just 1.5 listens. I did go back and find that like groove down part I was talking about. I think that stands out as one of my favorite parts of this song. I cannot get enough of that. And just some of the work with the drums too. It is absolutely key to how much I love parts like that. That was a huge win over for me, but also everything else that I've mentioned here. But anyway, Passage I do feel is going to be the track that comes out as my favorite single. I don't know if any other ones. August 4th is coming up extremely quickly, so I'm not sure if there will be like a week before single or day of single, or just when the album comes out, but Passage is very likely to stay a favorite for me. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I will put all of the promotional links, any sort of pre-orders for the album that you can get, all in the description of this video, with the rest of Humanity's Last Breath's social media promotional links. Make sure to check it out and give them some love if you're enjoying these singles, as I am. Other than that, you can also find my link tree there, which will have any link you may need related to my channel. The Discord server invite link in the Discord server is where the community is based for my YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of music lovers in there with a bunch of different channels to talk about music-related things unrelated to music, all sorts of stuff. So if you're interested in coming to join, check that out. That will be there. So will my Patreon, my Twitch channel, both things that, as I'm getting settled into this new space, getting some recording done, I'm going to be going next week into more streaming, focusing on updating the Patreon, putting more content together, which some I already have filmed and planned, and I'm just going to get on the uploading schedule, offering more in those tiers than I already am, but everything I currently offer is listed there too. So if you're interested in Patreon or following my Twitch channel to see when I start going live for my Twitch streams, which that is all starting next week as well, that will be there. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.